Greetings and welcome somewhere outside of Lewes. Come and join me as I drive back to Brighton. Now, I'm currently on my holidays at the moment. I'm having my traditional yearly political blackout, so I've pre-recorded a few videos with topics that are quite general, because I don't know what's going on in the news at the moment. For all I know, Suella Braverman could be Prime Minister. Oh, God. But anyway, so last week I've done a video where I discussed the three main policies that I'd like to put forward if I was Prime Minister. What three key things would I change about the UK? Now today I want to talk about the three key areas I'd change about our political system, about our political parties, our voting system, our House of Parliament, House of Lords, all things to do with political parties and the way we run politics in this country, because majority of our problems stem from the fact that our politics is completely loopy and completely balmy and just not fit for purpose. It's a 400-year-old system that's trying to work in 2020, and it doesn't work. So let's get into it. Now, those of you that have been friends of the channel for a while will know that I can't stand the voting system in this country. Okay, the majority of you folks can't either. I do bang on about it quite a bit, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself and boring you folks, but I think it is really important to drum home because a lot of people don't realise how unfair our voting system is. When I talk to friends and family and people, the majority of people are not engaged in politics on day to day, and you know what, fair play to them, all power to them. I wish I wasn't half the time, because it's depressing, but the majority of people, and when it comes to voting time, you know, they do their research. I'm not saying they're lazy or anything like that, and they look to who they want to vote for, but understand our political system and understand our voting system. The amount of times I've spoken to people, friends, family, and explain the way that our voting system works, and they're shocked at how incredibly unfair it is. So I think it's really important to drum home the message, and it's also important because it's one of those topics that's shared on the political spectrum. People on the left, people on the right feel just as strongly about how unfair our voter system is. I mean, if you look at Reform Party and Richard Tice is always going on about bringing in a change to the voting system, and on the left spectrum for the Green Party, they're also doing the same, and people are generally just sick and tired of the Labour Conservative two-party system that we have in this country. Now, most of you guys that are with me know what the voting system is about, but I just want to explain it quickly, just in case there's any new people to the channel. Welcome, because like I say, it's important and not enough people know. So I mean, it's so obvious that first past the post, the current voting system that we have, is the most undemocratic way to run an election, which is why no one does it. There's one important thing to know. No one, apart from America, and I think there is one other European country, but Hungary, Poland, I'm sure you'll put in the comments down below and correct me, but no one runs political voting systems like we do. It's completely unfair. And the majority of the world, the majority of democracies use a PR system where it's so simple and so democratic. If you vote for a Reform Party and they get 20% of the vote share across the nation, they will get 20% of MPs in Parliament. If you vote for the Green Party and they get 10% of the national vote across the whole country, they will get 10% of MPs in Parliament. So simple, so democratic, so easy to understand. But the way that we do voting in this country is we do first past the post, where we have lots of little mini elections across the country in your constituency. So I live in Brighton. The Green Party win in Brighton, the only MP they have in the entire country. If they get 30,000 votes in Brighton, they win, but 50,000 votes were cast for other parties in that area, and those 50,000 votes are completely null and void. They're completely wasted. You don't have a say. One of the main reasons that the Brexit referendum done so well and so many people engaged in the Brexit referendum, because it was the first time in this country's history where you could have a vote and every single vote mattered. Every single vote. Nice and simple. Brexit referendum, in or out. Cast your vote, all the votes are tallied up. You go in or you go out. Whoever won. Now, that it's simple. And it's so obvious. Like Jacob Rees-Mogg recently was on GB News trying to defend first past the post against Richard Tice. I don't know if you've seen the interview. It's very interesting. I'm in the wrong lane. Let me get over this side. It was very interesting, and there is no justification for first past the post. There is no justification. You can throw so many stats out there. This one's always a good one. 800,000 votes in this country produced one MP for the Green Party. You only need 30 or 50,000 to vote in an SNP or a Conservative MP. But without question, the biggest obvious example of how bad first past the post is the fact that 70% of the country's votes that are cast are null and void. They may have well stayed at home. 22 million votes that were cast in the last election did not affect the result of the election in any way, shape or form. And these are the votes that I'm talking about. When 30,000 people voted Green in Brighton, the 50,000 other people that voted for other parties, their votes did not matter. And this is so glaringly obvious. When 70% of a country's votes do not matter, that 70%, that 22 million people, if they stayed at home, the election results would have been exactly the same number of MPs for exactly the same amount of parties if 22 million people did not turn up and vote. It's so glaringly obvious that it's undemocratic, unfair, and there's no justification for it. And like I say, Jacob Rees-Mogg, he throws out the usual tripes of, oh, it produces coalitions and weak governments. Weak governments. How many prime ministers have we had since the last election? 3. Infighting, weak governments. That's what first past the post produces. And the other argument is, which it is a fair point, is people like the constituency MP. So we vote for our MP in our area that represents our area in Parliament. Now that can be addressed, and we'll get into that later. But overall, it's obviously more democratic to vote for a PR voting system, but also it just produces better quality politics because more people will engage. That's just facts. More people engage in elections when it's a PR voting system, when every single vote matters. People engage more. But also you can vote for parties that have specific issues that you really care about. Currently, we have the two-party system with Conservative and Labour that so many people get angry about, and for good reason, because Conservative and Labour, they have to appeal to a broad spectrum of people, and people get angry when the Labour Party do not represent 100% of their politics. You know, we've had it with the left of the party recently. They got 100% of their politics pretty much during Jeremy Corbyn, but the centre of the Labour Party didn't, and they were angry. And vice versa right now with Starmer. The left of the Labour Party are angry because they're not representing 100% of their politics. You can't. You can't. If you're Labour, you just can't in the current system that we have. So through a PR voting system, you have more political parties that can be specific for what you really care about. You know, say you care about marijuana legalisation, you could vote for a party, and if enough people vote for it, they could get in a coalition with Labour and just push for that one policy. We need to legalise marijuana. Okay, fine. That's the policy you're going to push. Or, you know, if trans rights is your thing, on both sides of the spectrums on that one, if you're a little bit concerned about what they're teaching about the gender politics in school or something, you can vote for a party that is their only specific thing that they want to get in, and they can put that in and come in a coalition. It just makes politics so much more democratic. Can I squeeze through this gap? I can't with that bloody lorry coming. But anyway, that's the voting system. So number one, the voting system has to change. It has to change, and we need to talk about this more from the left and the right, because we all agree that it's terrible, and God, it needs to change. And it's so glaringly obvious that it's terrible, the current system that we have. Anyway, next I want to talk about money in politics. I get a lot of comments on my channel. Doesn't matter who you vote for, they're all controlled by the WEF, the World Economic Forum. Doesn't matter who you vote for, they don't represent normal people. Well, main reason why is money in politics. When you get multi-millionaires donating to the Tory party, they want something in return. They want policy that's going to help big corporations and the WEF, the World Economic Forum, the richest in this country. But also, if you did change the voting system and you had a PR voting system, it works the same with small parties. Look at Reform right now. Reform Party is not really a real political party. They're a business. They're owned by hedge fund managers, rich property investors that solely want lower tax. That's what the Reform Party are all about. They entice people in with their politics on woke and immigrants and stuff, but all they really want is they want tax cuts for the rich, and they've got money to back them. And money in politics is, with the voting system, is number one that needs to change. That's why we have so much corruption in our politics, because there's so much money involved. We need to go to a system of small individual memberships. Jeremy Corbyn done this very, very well when he was leader of the Labour Party. I don't have the exact stats on me right now, but he brought in an incredible amount of revenue through just individual memberships, members of the public that pay their £2 a month or whatever to become a member of the Labour Party. That needs to be how political parties are funded. Like I said, going back to the single issue parties, if you want marijuana legalised or trans rights and stuff, you know, you'll donate a couple of quid to that political party to try and get that involved. Big donations have got to go from politics. And, you know, there's always this argument when we talk about money in politics, well, political parties need to be funded and, you know, single donations from the public is not enough. But you don't need a lot of money in politics. And this is where the BBC can help. There's a lot of issues with the BBC, license fee money, it's got to change and stuff like that. I'd like to see the BBC just completely downsize and be publicly funded, but just a news channel. Just a news channel that's funded by tax money, but they have to solve the problem of unbiased. They have to be completely neutral, a state-owned news broadcaster that is completely apolitical, completely neutral, and they will help out with the political parties. They will give equal airspace to all the political parties to promote their party. I don't think you need insane amounts of money to run political parties, really. I think you can do it on a smaller amount. And you know, the promotions and things, just when it comes to election time, just a few months before, the BBC help out and give equal airtime to all the political parties to get their point across, and we choose who to vote for. But money in politics needs to change. And then finally, folks, it has to be the House of Lords. Now, again, another topic that people that are not crazy into politics don't know too much about. They don't know about the House of Lords and the fact that we have so many unelected people making decisions on our behalf, and also people that just had rich grandparents and estate owners. Your Downton Abbey lot, that still exists. In 2020 Britain, Downton Abbey lot still exists, and people that have lordships, dukes of Mount Montville, get to be in the House of Lords just as a birthright. Hereditary lords get to make decisions in Parliament about, I mean, I'm just concentrating on getting into this lane here because this bus is being quite aggressive here. House of Lords needs to change, and this is how you address the local constituent problem. Now, a lot of people don't want to change first past the post because they like having a local representative that represents their constituency, and you can do this. You scrap the House of Lords, so the House of Lords just basically have the final say on all things that go through Parliament. You know, if there's any real dodgy stuff, they say, hang on, I'm not too happy about this, we're going to vote it down. The House of Lords should be your local MP. You vote for the general election and you vote for a local MP to represent your constituency, and then they get to go into the House of Lords. But no lordships, no, because this is where the problems lie. People go into the House of Lords because they just want to be a lord. They just want that title. They don't even turn up. Scrap the Lords, Citizens Assembly, whatever you want to call it, but they can be voted in local constituents. What do you think, folks? They're the three things that would change about our political system. Now, oh my God, if we change those three things, how much better would politics be? Actually, I'm going to sneak in a final fourth one if you're still with me. I'm going to say lying in Parliament is the same as lying in court. It's an illegal offence. If you're caught lying in Parliament, it is an illegal offence and you can go to prison. The same as if you lie in court. I put that one in. But money out of politics, voting system, unelected House of Lords, if we change those things, this country would serve working people. It really would. Thanks for listening, folks. If you enjoyed the video, click a like. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top, and there'll be another video. You can check that out as well. Till next time, take care.